Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Thursday, January the 18th, 2024. It was a very, very interesting day because as I had left off yesterday, if the upside was going to continue, that what both the S&P and the NASDAQ needed to do was to control to an absolute minimum any downside, which did occur, and then start to move higher without really looking back. And that is what happened. A little bit slower here in the S&P, but in the NASDAQ, the market just took off. It stayed higher, as I will explain and why I believe it was taking place once we're done here with the S&P. Now, the S&P did get kind of caught up in some of the other things that was happening within a couple of sectors that really affected the Dow early on, that being insurance. The insurance sector took another hit today. I think Humana reported yesterday after the close and was not well received. We already know that United Healthcare, not well received. So both, plus others, started to really get smacked today, bringing them down. I don't know substantially, but they both were lower, and with the rest of the sector today, and that had an effect on the Dow. Now, and of course the S&P. Now, what helped the S&P today, of course, was the strong inflow of capital back into high tech. Today, we saw Apple really, truly put in an amazing performance, I should say, because the stock was up $6. It was up over $6 intraday, and then finished up plus $5.95. So basically $6, and being bid lower right now, but to be expected. And then also we saw NVIDIA continue to catch a very strong bid, post-market getting bid up again. Across the board, we saw AMD early on get caught in a downdraft. By the end of the day, buyers had returned, pushing the market up 250. So again, it was focused on AI, but then also just a lot of the Magnificent Seven. So we saw it in NVIDIA, we saw Netflix, Microsoft, Meta, Intel, caught not a big bid, but caught a bid. Amazon, AMD, AMAT, Apple. So again, that's more than just a seven, but a very strong rally, and many of those stocks, of course, are in the S&P. So late in the session, strong bid, caught a strong bid. Now, what on an Elliott basis seems to be going on here in the S&P? I, at best, feel that I'm going to say we finished minus 1 and 2, and that's how I had labeled it last night. And then coming in today, 1, 2, 1, 2. So basically what I'm thinking is that it's going to be a pretty big butt-kicking third wave. And so we got the 1, 2, this is the start of a 3. And so I'd be looking for this to at least get 48.31, if not get up and break above that high at 48.41. Actually, this high is coming in 48.38. This high is 48.41. So I'm going to look for wave 3 to definitively get above 48.38 and then eventually above 48.41 as it continues to just unfold. Now, overall, minute 3. So that's going to suggest that we really start to cook and get ourselves into 48.82 and then on above. And so we continue to have these higher levels of 49.66, 49.92, and we actually still have levels above 5,000. Now, the market still continues to struggle some, which puts a lot of doubt into traders as to the ability for the market to follow through. And it's a lot of going on because the markets are, again, trying to figure out when the Fed's going to cut. Are they going to cut? What's really going on? What is the bond market doing? Bond market took a pretty solid hit today, even though we did see a small recovery into the belt. But at one point, the 30-year bond was down over a full point. So but again, as I've explained, that move is not so unexpected in the bond market. I think overall the bond market is in a larger counter trend rally in bond price and a decline in the yield. So I think that actually, yeah, a decline in the yield. So with it being kind of in the reverse right now, because bond prices are going down, yields are going up, it's in effect just trying to balance out what essentially all of the data is telling them and how quickly, if they're going to try to put that in, market into price, these rate cuts will or will not occur. So that's again then having an effect on the equity side, and it's also having an effect on the dollar. The dollar again starting to come off a little bit more today, but it's been kind of strong, still holding above 103, and with the intent eventually for the dollar to kind of come down below par, which is 100. So, but that's not happening anytime soon. Now, again, what also I feel is involved in today is that a lot of the traders, a lot of firms are beginning to prepare for tomorrow's expiration. And I think some of that started today, and particularly in a lot of these larger tech stocks. So tomorrow is the January expiration, and we also have tomorrow, we do have some numbers. So besides just, actually nothing really big tomorrow. We have consumer sentiment existing home sale, and 3 of the Chicago Fed presidents and or governors speaking. We have Austin Goolsbee, who was the Chicago Fed president, coming out at 8:30 a.m. somewhere. That's Eastern time. Then at 10 a.m. we have consumer sentiment, and then also existing home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern. At 1 p.m. we have Fed Vice Chair Michael Barr speaking, and then at 4:15, so after the market closes, San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly is out there talking. So all the Fed people, as I've been saying, are out all week. They've all had their turn to step up to the stump and speak, and whatever they're doing. So nothing really to kind of toss the market off kilter. So I think expiration will kind of go in favor of, or we'll see actually. I think today was a day where things started to get bolstered and started to get built into what I guess some of the larger players or everybody might be looking for tomorrow. And again, I do think a lot of gamma and a lot of delta in terms of options will be coming off. They'll be expiring. And whether they're going to expire in the money, out of the money, they will be expiring. And that's going to be releasing a lot of delta and gamma from the market as all of these things settle out. Now, again, not knowing how much is going to be rolled out into next week or next month, et cetera, to be seen. But also next week, we have a larger bulk of the larger tech companies reporting their earnings. And I think we got a lot on the 24th, 25th, 26th, right in there. So I do believe that we will continue to see upside. But as this is being left right now here in the S&P, it really needs to get above 48.31, 48.38 to give additional confirmation that it is indeed a third wave. Failure to do that keeps it in a little bit of a corrective mode, and I'm not sure how exactly I would count it. So, but I'll tell you, if it starts to fall below 47.97, then it's going to kind of put a little bit of a finite point on this high. And then if it drops below 47.75, 74, then it's really going to start to throw the whole pattern into some type of like what is going on. Now, don't forget that we continue to have an alternate view where this high over here at 48.41 actually completed. We think completed 3, but I have shown how the possibility exists that point completed it all the way up to primary wave B for the S&P. Now that is a alternate. I am just bringing it forward to say that it has not been disqualified just yet. So it would be, should the market break above 48.41, then it's like, okay, that one's out and we're likely going to continue to rally. But we've not gotten there yet. In fact, we continue to see more weakness versus strength, except for these last few hours here today from the market. Okay, so what can I expect for tomorrow? I would be looking for the market to continue. We might get a little bit of a pullback. Let's see if it can't be held above 4,800 or definitively above 47.97. So it doesn't have a whole lot of downside room before this pattern might be broken. Or here's the other side of the coin. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it overlaps a little bit. And then a 5, and this is just minuet wave 1 of minuet wave 3. And if that's the case, then we have a fairer chance of a little bit stronger of a pullback. And let me go ahead and put some retracements in. I'm not calling it this, but we need to take a look at some possibilities. And we can do that via putting up some retracements. Add a drawing, and that's what I want. And we'll go right there. So if it's, say, for example, that this is a minuet wave 1 and we're going to come down into wave 2, well, 50 to 62%, we got 47.81 to 47.73. That would be a level. If it is going to be a small wave 2, then we should rally strongly yet again. So that would be keeping the rally phase intact. Now, if indeed it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, then this third should hold above 4,800. There you see there's support. Hold above 4,800 and just pick up the rally again, getting above 48.31, 48.30, 48.38, 48.41. So if we are looking for a continuation, then I'm going to be looking for these numbers. And you see, we got a little bit of a black hole here. Again, the best I can do is say that this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, looking for a 2. So I don't have any points to fill in these levels. Undoubtedly, once we get there, we will be able to add additional levels resistance for the S&P. The moving averages, a hot mess, to be honest, to tell you the truth, on the hourly chart. If I take over and I take a look at the daily chart, also not much. It's a decent bar. I will say that by the time all is said and done, on the daily, decent bar, more of on the bullish side because it came and closed above yesterday and got itself back above the 8 and the 20. So both of those solid, good. And so the 50 continues to rise. The 100 and the 200 are basically still flat. So it's not negative. It's not incredibly bullish. But if I had to say, it's leaning a little bit more to the positive side, that we get at least probably up into this level, break that high and this high, and head maybe up into here. All right, let's go over and take a look at the NASDAQ. I'm going to bring that down to the hourly because that's going to be my primary focus. Let's open this up a little bit. Now, the NASDAQ, of course, is the index that caught fire today, and it needed to, because again, here we had 1, 2, 1, 2, and even if it was going to be a 3 and a 4, 4 could not overlap, so it had to be a 1, 2, 1, 2. Then we got a 3, a 4, and a 5. So it could be that this completed a small third wave inside this minuet third. So maybe the 3 inside of the 3 completed. So we get a little wave 4. And if not, if it's still got a little bit more to go, that's why I added this extension, then we are likely going to get above 17,135, which I really thought we got up close to it a couple times today. got up to what, 20, 25, 26. I thought, okay, we're going to get up to 35, and that would have been nice icing on the cake to kind of cap off what I thought would have been this internal three, the 3 of 3 type move, right? This is minute 3, it would have been sub-minute 3 inside of it, all worked out. Now, you can see that the overall third wave really should have a lot more to go. So we are looking up to these levels for this internal third wave. So I am expecting, if indeed this is the picture, then the market needs to continue, and the market needs to continue to move higher pretty much all the way through tomorrow. So it was a pretty outstanding session with the market being up 250 points. That was good. Cash market also up almost 250 points. So both putting in a stellar performance today. Again, bolstered mostly by Apple, but we had NVIDIA, we had Netflix, we had Microsoft, we had Meta. Eventually, they all caught the bid. And again, that also came in late. You know, at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, everything lit on fire and just kind of pushed. And then that's when we did that major break up to 70,100 and a little bit above. Prior to that, it was a small internal fourth wave, and it was perfect. Everything kind of just came in, held support, and met resistance. So I'm going to continue to believe that that is going to continue tomorrow. So, and I would suspect that we're probably going to get it pretty much from the Globex bell, so to speak, and then within the Globex session, and we shall see. Pullbacks notwithstanding, but I believe that the upside will continue at least through expiration, and then we'll see how it all comes out after that. Now, on the hourly chart, the MACD, yep, picked up the pace. You see, kind of going over and gave the buy signal right there. So yesterday at noon, it gave a buy signal by the MACD getting up, and then it just started to cruise. And so both now just pointing higher. So that's what got it going, and then it just kind of pulled back, but hung higher, and then it just started to build overnight, and then all during today. We had one good selling point right here. But it was a correction within. So same deal. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 of 3, possibly a little bit more. 17,188 would be nice. That gets us above 17,165, which I'd love to see. That's the existing high so far. And that's way over there. Right here. So 17,165. That's the minute 3. We'd like to see this minuet 3 get above it. Give us a fighting chance to get ourselves up here. Ultimately, we have minute wave 5 equaling minute wave 1 at 17,595. Well, if we could tack on 200 today, we tack on 200 tomorrow, and then 200 again, we're here. So, yep, I know it seems like it's a forever way, but look at where we are. 17,117. And 470 points of getting ourselves up here. So, is it worthy, or can it be done? I believe so. Now for tomorrow, let me open this back up. I think we do have a little bit more to go. Let's say we get to 17,188. Then we have a little bit larger of a fourth wave to pull back. And again, this is like inside this third. So what I got to do is get the finish of the minuet wave 3, put it in minuet wave 4, and then the minuet wave 5. And that's why I still believe we've got enough momentum right now, which we could get up here, but we still got a minuet fourth wave to do once we're done with the third. And we also now internally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So we have a sub-minuet wave 4, then minuet wave 4, and also that we have a sub-minuet wave 5, and then we have a minuet wave 5 before we're done with minute wave 5 and the balance. So yeah, I do believe that the market can get up here. And like I've said previously, if we get a full-blown blowout, then we do stand a chance we're going to get ourselves above these additional levels that have been sitting up here for a while. So, but let's take a day at a time for right now. So again, tomorrow I would be looking for additional, but pullbacks notwithstanding. And as I said, coming in today, at least in the trade room, we need to be careful, because if you're trading the pullbacks that are kind of coming in, they're swift, they're hard, they drop real quick, and then the buyers move back in. So I don't suspect that that's going to change very much between today and tomorrow. So be on the lookout, particularly if you're a day trader like myself. You don't want to be caught in one of those downdrafts, because the market will drop very suddenly, and suddenly you're down $1,000 or more on a 1 or a 2 lot in this futures market. So prices are shifting and moving pretty rapidly, and what you might term as choppy, but it's not really, it's just moving. All right, moving averages, you can see it is one big jumbled mess here on the hourly chart. The only one that's really kind of rocketing, of course, is the 8, which is going right along with the market. Everything else, we got the 20, which is now breaking. Here, that's just a fib line, but then we got the 50 pretty flat, the 100, the 200 pretty flat, all in the hourly chart. So, but I suspect that they are kind of still heading higher. But I would look for the 20 to kind of pick up some steam. A little surprising that it didn't. That kind of can be a little bit disconcerting. But here on the MACD, looking pretty good. The RSI picked itself back up, but higher high, lower high. That kind of goes like, okay, don't really like that one. Could be showing a little bit of exhaustion, a little bit need for a pullback. We shall see. All right, this is where I'm going to leave it for right now. Have a great trading day tomorrow. Our next update on an Elliott basis will be on Sunday, January the 21st.